Now we're going to do square root. Now, just like multiplication and division, we need to divide the instrument. We're going to divide the instrument in two sections. The first section is where I'll show my starting number and where I'll show my work. And the second section is where I'll show my results. Now, the way that we do square root is like a successive subtraction, where we're going to be subtracting odd numbers successively. So let's go ahead and start off with the number 36. To calculate the square root, I'm going to start off by subtracting odd numbers from the left-hand section, from the number 36. Every time I subtract, I'm going to mark it on the right-hand side. So we'll go ahead and begin. I'm going to start off by subtracting 1 and mark it. Now I need to subtract 3. I don't have 3, but I have 5. And I'm going to return the 2 that I didn't need to subtract and mark it. Now I'll subtract 5. I don't have 5, but I have 10. So I'm going to subtract 10 and I'm going to convert the 10 to 2 5s. And now I can subtract 5 and mark it. Now I'm going to subtract 7 and mark it. Now I'm going to subtract 9. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 and return the 1 that I didn't need to subtract. And I'll mark it. And I'll subtract the next odd number, which is 11. And mark it. And my square root of my original number 36 is 6. Now let's do another example. Let's do the square root of 64. So I'm going to go ahead and show my 64 on the left-hand side. And remember, I'm going to be subtracting odd numbers successively from my number 64. And every time I do that, I'm going to mark it on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and begin with the first odd number. I'm going to subtract 1 and mark it. Now I'll subtract 3 and mark it. Now I need to subtract 5. But I don't have 5, but I have a 10. So I'll subtract 10 and return the 5 that I didn't need to subtract and mark it. Now I need to subtract 7. I have a 5, but I don't have 2 1s. So I'm going to go ahead and do a conversion. My 50, I'm going to convert to 4 units of 10 and 2 units of 5. Now I have the 5, but I don't have 2 1s. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 and return the 3 that I didn't need to subtract. And I'll mark it. Now I need to subtract 9. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 again and return the 1 that I didn't need to subtract. And I'll mark it. Now I need to subtract 11 and I'll mark it. My next odd number is 13, so I'll subtract 13 and mark it. And now I need to subtract 15. And I have 3 counters of 5, so I subtract my 15, mark it. So now I have my answer. The square root of my initial number of 64 is 5, 6, 7, 8.